Great evening, everyone, and happy Friday. I'm super pumped to be here with you. I am Kiana Alexander, privileged to be your host of Mother Nurture for the last 6 months running. This has been a total team unstoppable takeover, and it has been such a privilege to be here. And we are doing this in honor of the late, great Dorothy Richardson, who is our dear friend Troy Richardson's mother. She was a phenomenal woman who inspired many, motivated others, took care of her family, was involved in her community. She was a beloved nurse and also very involved in her church and choir. So we're so grateful every month to be able to get on here to tell you some things that have helped our families, improved our lives, offer you insights, and give you tips and resources that we hope improve your lives and brighten your days all the time. So without further ado, I would love to share this evening with you to have the rest of Team Unstoppable join me. And you are in for a serious treat. We are going to have, pardon me just a moment. Oh, there we go. We were able to fix the issue. Thank you so much. Everything's in real time, so we're always working with our technical difficulties. I appreciate you. But this evening, you're in for a serious treat. So we wanted to thank each of you that was respectful of our time, got on time, and you'll get to sit here for the great things we have in store. And I'm going to introduce to you and invite the wonderful Elsie Gould Matthews, who is a health coach, who's also a yoga teacher, and she's going to help walk us through some everyday stretches that we can do to help manage our stress. So Elsie, please take it away.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited about tonight. So we're going to kind of switch it up just a little bit, and we are going to start with some ways that you can spend maybe 5 minutes during your day to, relieve stress, to reduce anxiety, and just maybe just take a moment, like me time, 5 minutes of me time. So we're going to kind of start with just a little bit of chair yoga, just some basic exercises that we can do to relieve that stress. Even if you're at work, wherever you're at, in the car, you can do it. Okay. So we're going to start with just some head rolls. So we're actually just going to start with putting our head down, and then we're going to lean our head all the way back. And then one more time, we're going to go down, lean our head back, and then we'll just do some rolls, whichever way feels comfortable. You can roll to the right, just to get those kinks out. Relax your shoulders, and then reverse direction, and we're going to go back the other way. I can already feel some stress fading away. All right, so now we're going to do some seated cat-cows. So all you want to do is take your hands and put them kind of like on your knees. And we're just going to kind of lean forward and arch your back. And then we're going to push our shoulders back, roll your shoulders back, put your head back, and just get a little stretch in. Let's just do another cat-cow. All right, hands on your knees, arch your back, and then roll your shoulders back. Your hands will probably come up a little bit. Just get all the kinks out. All right, so let's just shake that out a little bit. Feeling good. All right, so now we're gonna do some foot, calf, and ankle exercises. All right, so we're gonna do. I'll show you with my hands. We're gonna do dorsiflex and plantar flex. So we're gonna dorsiflex our foot, and then we're gonna stretch those ankles, feel that pull. Then we're gonna point our toes, and we're gonna do our plantar flex. Let's go back one more time, dorsiflex and plantar flex. All right, so let's relax. Now we're gonna go into a seated boat pose. So we're gonna raise our arms straight up, and we're gonna lift our legs up, all right? And that's kind of like a seated boat pose. And then we'll come back down. You can bring your hands to heart center to relax, and put your feet back on the ground. And then we'll raise our arms back up again and simultaneously lift our feet up, point your toes, reach all the way up to the sky. Pretend we're in a boat, we're in a canoe. And then we'll come back. So now we're going to do a couple of sun salutations. So you can put your feet back on the floor, but we're going to raise our arms up above our head. This is kind of like a seated sun salutation. And this is actually a good time to do maybe some gratitude thoughts or some I am empowering thoughts. You can bring your hands back down to heart center and relax them just a bit. Let's reach up one more time, all the way up to the sky. Reach, reach, reach. So you can say, I'm thankful for this beautiful day. I am powerful. Whatever comes to mind. Just, practice. Good to practice some powerful I am statements or gratitude every day. All right, so let's bring our hands back down to heart center and let's go into our Savasana. So let's just relax our hands on our thighs and just take a couple of deep breaths in. So breathe in and then let it all out and just relax. And we'll do one more deep breath in and then just let it all out. All right, everybody feel better, a little relaxed. All right, so hope everybody's feeling good. And that, you don't have to spend a lot of time. You don't have to get on the floor. These are just simple things you can do, like take maybe 5 minutes in your car, at your workstation, wherever you are. If you're feeling that tightness in your neck, you can just do some simple stretches. All right, so we're going to get to our topic on hand tonight. I'm so excited for our topic tonight. So we're going to be talking about, it's Diabetes Awareness Month, and we're going to be talking a little bit about diabetes and we're going to share some statistics with you, some tips for dealing with seasonal affective disorder. So, it's starting, the weather's changing in the Northeast. I don't know where everybody else is, but in Northeast, it's starting to get dark early. It's getting a little colder. And you may notice that you feel a little tired, a little bit depressed, and you don't even know why, or you feel like you're just in a little bit of a funk and you don't even know why. It could be S.A.D, which is seasonal affective disorder. It's really a biochemical imbalance in the brain caused by shorter daylight hours, less sunlight. And so we have a very special guest tonight who is going to share some information. So our chronic disease specialist, Helena Marascott. I'm so proud that she's my friend and she's loaded with information. So without further ado, let her get started. She has a wonderful presentation set up for us tonight. Helena?
Hi, everyone. I'm Helena, and Elsie stole some of my thunder. So I'm going to have to change some stuff around. So let me pull up this presentation now. Can you see it? Are you able to see it? Yes? Okay. So 2 things that I'll be talking about today. Managing your diabetes. If anyone on this call, or if everyone on the call doesn't have diabetes, I'm sure you know someone who does. And then the second piece is on the seasonal affective disorder. I am a nutrition and chronic disease self-management coach, educator. I work with corporate organizations, nonprofits, municipal governments, as well as individuals. So I'm so excited to be with you today. And I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about where we are. In 2021, what is today's date? November 21, right? The disclaimer that I have is that this is all about education purposes. It's not to be confused with medical advice. So clearly, if you have any issues related to your health, you should always contact your physician first. So where are we? We know that the global pandemic is nowhere close to ending. I'm sure you would all agree if you've seen the latest information. Because we're getting into the winter months, it's expected to be on an uptick. Diabetes is also a pandemic. An article came out today even that says that COVID-19, because we're still dealing with it, is making diabetes even worse than what it is today. And just as far as stats, 537 million people are currently living with it. That's a lot of people. when you look at the number of people who have died from COVID, and I'm not trying to be, a bearer of bad news, but we do have to think about that 40% of them died with diabetes complications, right? So that's a big number, 40%. One of the reasons why it's called a pandemic is because during COVID, a lot of people did not visit their doctors. So therefore they weren't being screened, and many of which are undiagnosed. So what that's saying is that there's a lot of people walking around with type 2 diabetes and don't even know it because they haven't been to the doctor lately. So we know that there's no supplement, there's no lifestyle, there's nothing that can keep you from getting COVID or keep you from getting diabetes. It is complicated. I'm sure everyone would agree that, our bodies are complicated. So the other thing we know is that the flu season is upon us. So it's the holidays. So we've got a lot going on. The only thing we can do is to strengthen our immune system. There are things we can control. There are things we cannot control. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute because there's some issues going on with my computer, and I'll restart it in 1 second. So I don't want you to go away. It's just there's a problem here. Okay, let's try it again. All right, can you see the screen?
Yes, we can. Hope it works well for you.
Okay, so here it is. I know what was going on. We were on the wrong thing. So what I was saying is that the flu season is here. The holidays are upon us. So we need to take care of our bodies. We need to take care of our mind. And yes, our mind is not something that can get left behind while we're busy trying to take care of our bodies. So starting out with the holistic part of health, right? There is no diet, there is no lifestyle. We are interconnected. If the body is not working in all cylinders, the spirit, you're not spiritually there, you're not physically there, you're not mentally there, it's just not going to work. So we always have to look at it from that standpoint. And that's why this presentation has 2 different parts to it. So let's talk about the diabetes diet. Is there anyone on this call that is currently living with diabetes right now?
I am.
You are. Okay. So you know what it's like to constantly be dealing with the ups and the downs of sugar levels, right?
Yes, I do.
It's a fine line trying to keep it at a balance, but there is no real diabetes diet. It simply means your diet consists of less carbs, high fiber, plant-based approach, smaller portions, and lean meats. And that's in most diets. It's not, you don't have to have diabetes. You can have heart disease, you can have thyroid. It all boils down to kind of the same thing in order to stay healthy. But just keep in mind that you've got fiber and protein, right? Very important to slow down your digestion, help prevent those sugar cravings, to keep the blood sugar at bay, and also it helps to keep you full. So most meals, regardless of what diet you call it, should have those things in it. So we have the holidays. Thanksgiving is what? In a few days. If you haven't already started shopping for food, think about what's going to go in your cart at the supermarket. A lot of people, depending on their culture, have traditions, right? That Thanksgiving table's got to be X, Y, and Z. But what I would challenge everyone on this call is to think about how can you look at Thanksgiving from a different perspective? How can you make it healthier without making it so obvious? Because when people think of health, they don't think of Thanksgiving. Those are the oxymorons. The first thing I would say is spice up the food. So if you're going to introduce some healthier choices, add those herbs, add garlic, add the things that you know is going to make the food taste better, outside of the things that you know have the saturated fats and the things that are not good for you. Think about new appetizers. Think about things that have the fiber and the protein. Like I was saying, for example, hummus with vegetables. What's wrong with that as an appetizer? A meat tray, a chicken satay, a vegetable stew. If you come from an Irish background versus a Latino background versus an African-American background, there's typical staple items that you would have there. Think differently about those staple items. Are they going to serve the people that you love at your dinner table well? Yes, you'll enjoy yourself, but what's it going to do to your loved ones longer term? Side dishes, these are just ideas to think about for side dishes. When we talk about plant-based protein, put some nuts on your salad, some walnuts, whatever nuts that you think is not going to cause allergic reactions. Think about doing that. Top your casseroles with things other than marshmallows. Cook with the healthier fats. Canola oil, vegetable oil is something that a lot of people have been using for years and years, but the truth is that it's not a healthy fat. Think about the dips and the dressings that you cook with, and also the desserts that you serve. So I'm not trying to be the Grinch that stole Christmas or the boo-hoo for Thanksgiving holidays. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I want everyone to think about is the loved ones that you didn't see last year and you're seeing this year. Make sure you're feeding them with life, not with things that are going to bring along negative eating patterns. That's all I have to say.
Helena, you actually got a lot of really positive feedback. Someone said they purchased flax seeds to add to their family's meal. Someone else said they're doing seafoods, greens, and sweet potatoes instead of doing ham. So you got a lot of good feedback.
Yay. Yeah, and you know what? Everything you just said, it doesn't taste bad, right? It's not like you're suffering with this, cardboard tasting type food. So thank you for sharing that. As far as immune boosting foods, we'd have to think about that as well. If sweet potatoes has been staple during this time of year, and root vegetables, when you think about all the good stuff, the fiber, the vitamin A, the vitamin B, the vitamin C, keep that going. Butternut squash, that's a perfect thing to add to your table. As far as fruits, outside of the typical ones that you would buy, think about things like elderberry and guava and pomegranates and papaya and kiwi. They're readily available this time of year. They're less expensive than if you bought it at other times of year, and they have the most nutritional potency. Spices, think about turmeric. Turmeric, I love, love, love turmeric. If anybody here has not tried turmeric, I recommend that you at least give it a shot. Turmeric is good for so many different things. I put some pictures on this screen just to give you an idea of what does a turmeric detox tea look like. A ginger tea, a fresh ginger tea, what does that look like? Just some ideas to think about when you want something warm other than coffee. For the omegas, definitely fish, the tuna, the salmon, the mackerel, all these things are things to consider if you've not had it on your Thanksgiving or Christmas gatherings. As far as supplements, highly recommend probiotics, highly recommend vitamin D3. So many of us are deficient in that area. Elderberry, oil of oregano, all these things, have it readily available and share them with others who may not be familiar with it. It seems like we have a healthy crowd on this call, but there are those that are not so healthy that you can share with. All right, let's talk about exercise. A lot of people know exercise is important to good health, right? But what not everybody knows is why. Some of the reasons are it flushes out bacteria out of the lungs and pathways, right? And we know that with COVID, it's a big respiratory problem. So that's why the physical activity is even more important now than ever. So it's not just eating, it's also the physical part. It also promotes antibodies and help with the white blood cells. Very important. So if you're eating right, you're not exercising, those antibodies are not going to do what it needs to do. Sweating, you gotta sweat. You can't just work out without the sweat. Why? Because it helps bacteria it prevents bacteria from growing. It slows down the release of stress hormones. I'm sure you all know that. We live with stress each and every day, but exercise can help. Not to mention, it promotes better sleep. So just wanted to put these fun facts out there and just let you know that you don't have to do an hour of cardio. You don't have to do, intense exercise. Everything matters, even housework, even vacuuming, going up and down the stairs, doing laundry. That is exercise. Don't discount that. Doing something is certainly better than doing nothing at all. So now let's talk about the mental part, right? Because that's so important. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Rick Warren. He's one of my favorite authors, and he's also a pastor. And this is something that I wanted to share with you. It's not just what you eat that matters, it's what eats you internally, right? You can have all the good food, the organic food, the microbiotics, but if your body is filled with resentment, worry, fear, lust, guilt, anger, bitterness, depression, or any of those emotional disease, it's going to shorten your life. That's a guarantee. So I want to spend some time talking about being good to your mind. Who here does not watch the news to hear about the latest COVID numbers, to hear about the latest deaths, to hear about what's going on in the political scene? That overexposure to hearing about all this negativity does nothing good for your body. Also, being on social media, wanting to know what's going on with Facebook and Instagram, that is proven to be bad for your mental state. So I would say minimize the exposure to media as best you can. Obviously, alcohol. During COVID and while we were all on lockdown, I think myself included, was guilty of wanting to have an extra glass of wine. Because what else are you going to do, right? I mean, it was just something. And substance abuse is through the roof, by the way, because people have misused alcohol, which isn't good for your mental state either. And then the emotional eating. That's a big one. I could spend the next 20 minutes talking about that, but just be conscious of it. So you know what SAD is, so I'm not going to ask the question because Elsie stole my thunder. Thank you, Elsie.
Sorry, Helena.
So it is a form of depression. It's real. It comes on during the late fall and the early winter. I personally suffer with that. I've been dealing with SAD now for about 15 years. And I never knew that it was a real diagnosis. I used to think that it was just, I just don't like cold weather, but it is truly real. It's a real struggle. 10 million people suffer with this depression. I mean, we've got a lot of things going on in the world, but having less daylight hours and shift in seasons, that too affects your emotions and your mental state. And what are some of the symptoms? More fatigue than usual, carving bread more than usual, and French fries and things of that sort. Weight gain, even though you're doing everything you could to keep the weight off. Oversleeping, not just having problems sleeping, but sleeping too much. That's another thing that is affecting why this disorder affects it. Other symptoms, hopelessness, suicidal thoughts, decreased sexual desire. Yes, that does matter. So think about these things and ask yourself, are you experiencing it? The common age is 18 to 30, but I'm way past 30 and I have it. So, you got to kind of take that on an individual basis. So what can you do? Next couple of slides, I wanted to talk about what can you do? What are some of the ways to cope with it? And the first thing is to set yourself up for the changes that are coming. I think someone on the call lives in Michigan, where snow has already gotten to the ground. I'm here in New York. We haven't seen snow yet, but I know it's coming. So the thing about it is embrace it. It's coming. You can't change it. It's just the way it is, right? So be creative, find fun activities where you can just embrace it. Put a bucket list together. I think, Kiana, you mentioned, I forget who it was that does travel, right? That works on traveling. You know, think about what is your bucket list? Is it, you know, within the state that you live in, within the town that you live in, or maybe you want to, you know, take a trip somewhere. But embrace the fact that this is the season that we are in. And yes, all the leaves on the trees will be completely bare in the next week or two near me. I know that, and that stresses me out. That gives me depressed thoughts, knowing that there's no more beautiful trees to look at. Let's talk about light therapy. That also is very helpful because light therapy is brighter than the regular lights. It keeps your circadian rhythm in track. If anyone is not familiar with what is circadian rhythm, I don't have time to go through it now, but Google it. Do some research on how you can change your circadian rhythm. That's your natural biological clock. The light therapy mimics sunshine. If you do it 20 to 30 minutes a day, it could make a difference. It can boost the chemical changes in your brain and your mood, and then do it after wake up. Now, I have to tell you, a lot of things that are holistic and are not medically proven is not FDA approved, right? So, you know, there's nothing here that I'm going to tell you is, you know, 100% is going to work, but you should try it versus taking antidepressant drugs. Try these things first. Dawn simulators. I have one. It's a clock, basically, that wakes you up by the sunrise, right? Just the light wakes you up. So there's no beeping, there's no loud music. It produces light that gradually increases with intensity. And if you like the look of a sunrise and a sunset, you will love this. These clocks, you can order them on Amazon. They are really cool because it simulates natural sun. Prioritizing your social activities. With the pandemic, a lot of us were not connected as much as we were pre-pandemic, but it's not good for your mental state to be isolated, right? So make sure you have a social network. Be intentional about it. Hang out with your friends. Think about what can I do with my friends and stay safe. Does it mean going to a local park? Does it mean playing yard games? Figure something out that's going to connect you on a social level. If it's too cold to go out and you don't want to be indoors with people because you're afraid of catching COVID, you know, using FaceTime and using Zoom to set up games is something that you can continue doing if you haven't already. Aromatherapy and essential oils. I do that. It helps me. It could be something as simple as a lotion with essential oils in it. It could be a diffuser. It could be jewelry made with these kind of materials in them that's essential, has an essential lavender scent or eucalyptus scent. It does real wonders for your mood. Sticking to a schedule. It doesn't matter what time you have to wake up during the week, but whatever that is, it shouldn't change on the weekends, right? It should be the same wake up time, because that exposure to sunlight or not enough exposure to sunlight is going to affect this depressive state. Any thoughts or any comments on the chat, Kiana?
Yes, there's been some great things in here. I, for one, appreciate what you're saying about sticking to a good routine because, yeah, that structure and that schedule definitely helps. Some people were talking about, I think, turmeric earlier and how it helps to lower your sugar, as well as your cholesterol. People said that they enjoyed the turmeric for their hot soup, but it honestly looks like some of the more recent information you've added that people are just very engaged and they're listening. Other people are saying that enough sleep is definitely important, and they agreed that the dawn simulator and the light boxes are great, and it helps to relax them, as well as the essential oils.
Oh, okay, perfect. Also, when you're in a room during the daytime, be sure to put those blinds up, especially if you have young ones. If you have teenagers, or people in your family who tend to keep the blinds down, help them out with that, because when you bring sunshine into a room, it does so much for your mental state, and it's not always obvious. Also, if you work remotely from home, as millions of Americans do, make sure that your workspace is near a window where you're getting natural light, not artificial light. Take advantage and save money too on your electrical bills. Letting the sunshine in, there's a song that I used to sing to my kids years ago. But it truly makes a difference. It opens up your heart. It opens up your mind. All right, so let's move on to self-care. We talked a lot about taking care of the mind, taking care of the body, but if anyone can just put in the chat, what does self-care mean to you? Or you can just unmute, whichever.
Well, I'll answer. Self-care means to me to take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. It's not necessarily mean that, like necessarily going to get your nails done or whatever. Just making sure you spend that time getting to know you. Because sometimes I think some people are afraid to know who they really are, and they are afraid to spend time with themselves. So self-care, to me, that's what it does with the whole holistic side of us.
Thank you, Lynette. Anybody else?
Self-care to me means to keep yourself away from toxic people and toxic situations.
Amen to that. You are right. That helps a lot. Keeps your stress level down for sure. So any answer that anybody has is the right answer, right? Because there is no right or wrong. What I wanted to just briefly mention, what self-care is not. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not only for some people versus other people. It's not the same for everyone. It's not about only keeping your emotions in check. It's not something to keep quiet about. So, nothing wrong to say to anybody, listen, I have to leave you now because I need to go take care of me and not feel guilty about it. So that's very important, because it's not a one size fits all, and what works for you may not work for the next person.
You got some great answers in the chat. Someone said oneness with self, the universe, an individual time for you and your health. We also have being aware of how you feel mentally, emotionally, physically, and doing things to balance your energies. And then someone else said continuing education on their personal needs based on their medical diagnosis and taking time for me.
All right, all right. I got some self-care people in the house for sure. Thank you for sharing that. And for those that did not have a comment, I wanted to just share some examples of those self-care moments. It doesn't have to be a whole big production, right? It can be just a morning stretch, waking up in the morning before running off with that alarm clock. It could be just sitting down with a cup of coffee. It could be just setting your day right, just thinking about, okay, what do I want to accomplish today? It could be just personal hygiene, like taking nail polish off your nails, or putting nail polish on your nails. Taking breaks. I think earlier we did a little yoga stretch. That kind of thing is so much needed. Spending time with friends, making a phone call just to say, hey, I was thinking about you today. And don't forget our little furry pets. Those little pets can do so much wonders in just lifting your spirits. That's all examples of self-care. And then create the moments, be intentional about it. Don't like take it off your to-do list. Make sure it's on your to-do list every day. Treating yourself to something as simple as a nice mug. I have a mug that makes me happy. And I drink my hot beverages from that particular mug because it brings me joy. That's it. That's all it is. Using a nice pen, like sometimes that's all it takes. Decorating your workspace with pretty colors, pretty pictures, wearing the clothes that you love. I have clothes that I haven't worn in 2 years because I've had nowhere to go. And it's like, what am I going to do with these fancy clothes? I have no fancy place to wear them, but wear it. Who cares? If it makes you feel good, put it on. Using nice bath products. My lotion is, it's got eucalyptus and lavender because those are the scents that make me happy. That is self-care. Using fresh, clean sheets at night. I don't know about you, but whenever I make my bed and I add new sheets, it just makes me happy. Or even a silk pillowcase. It just feels good to put your head on a silk pillowcase. Not only does it help your skin and your hair, but just some ideas. Then with the self-care becomes being resilient to being stressed. Someone mentioned before, take the toxic people out of your lives, right? That's what you can control. You can't control having a job loss, COVID, medical issues. You can't control that, but focus on what you can. Focus on what your triggers and what triggers you. Toxic people is a trigger. That's the truth. Managing people's expectations. Don't sign up for things that you can't deliver on. Showing empathy, managing your time better. And lastly, consider counseling. If you've done as much self-care and as much coping skills with stress, but you still can't seem to find a rhythm, there is nothing wrong with saying, I need help. It is so crucial to just, go to a pastor, go to a friend, go to a professional counselor and ask for help. These are some apps that I wanted to they're free apps. You can download them on your phone when you just need a minute. Some of them have a spiritual connotation, some of them have a meditation connotation, but there's so many out there. And that's it. I didn't want to take up too much time, but I did want to focus on the nutrition, the exercise, the mental, and just doing things to lighten up your day, lighten up your load. So if anyone has any questions, these are the areas I can be reached, my email, my phone number, and my company website. So thank you so much for listening, and hope you have a great holiday season.
Thank you so much, Helena. That was such a wealth of information. I'm sorry for stealing a little bit of your thunder at the beginning. I got a little over anxious with our topic tonight, but oh my goodness, you just really gave us a lot of wealth of information and some really useful things that we can do for self-care, for helping ourselves feel better, taking care of our mind and our body. So thank you for that. And I am going to piggyback on a couple of things. So we're going to talk about ways to feel better. And I am going to kind of add to a couple of things that Helena mentioned. So one thing I would like to mention is don't forget about our plants, okay? Plant therapy. Plants can help us to feel calm. They can help us to feel more relaxed, decrease anxiety, reduce stress, improve our memory, and improve our concentration by 20%. And also plants will can elevate your mood. You can talk to them. They won't talk back, they're good listeners. Okay. So the other thing about plants is we have, with our wonderful, amazing company, we have what's called a tower garden. And if you don't know what a tower garden is, you can get with the person that invited you. But I am going to show a picture of mine. But before that, I want to mention a couple things about it, and then I'll actually show you my tower garden. So with the tower garden, you have the plant therapy, right? And then the other benefit is those plants are edible. So they're edible plants that are going to help you to eat more plants, because that's what we need for our body to feel good. Good for our body, also good for our minds. And then with the tower, and you're going to see it in just a moment, if you're doing indoor gardening, we have not only the plant therapy, we have light therapy. It's one way to help with depression because it mimics sunlight. And then we also have wonderful sound therapy. So when the plants water, it's very relaxing to hear that. So our tower garden encompasses a lot of therapies within it, some that I didn't even realize until very recently. When Helena mentioned about the light therapy, and she actually said, hey, the tower garden lights are kind of like light therapy. So you have a lot of therapies happening all at once there, right? And the plants are good for your body. So the other thing, let me show you the tower garden. So bear with me a second. Let me go over here, and I'm going to turn my camera around. Let's see here. Let me start my video again, and I'm gonna flip our, okay, so here's my tower, and the lights are on. Here's the lights. You can kind of see them. They're illuminated. They're kind of lighting up my whole dining room right now. So they mimic the sunlight, and look at the plants. They are responding well because it's like they're outdoors getting natural sunlight. So then I want to talk a little bit about some of the plants that are also in and of themselves very relaxing. So now I don't have the first plant that I'm going to mention on here, but it is one of my favorites, and I did grow it on my tower outside. I'm actually just ordered it because I forgot it on my first order, but it's lavender. I love lavender. One of my favorite teas is a lavender chai. If you haven't tried lavender chai, it's amazing. So you can cook with lavender. Okay, it's starting to water right now. So if you can hear that, there goes the sound therapy. And lavender helps to reduce anxiety. It's good for stress relief. It also improves sleep. It reduces blood pressure, relieves depression and headaches, and it also calms our nervous system. All right, so now I'm going to go and show you peppermint. So right here, I have some peppermint growing, and it's that time of year when you can buy peppermint tea at the store, but you can actually just infuse your own peppermint tea. Put some peppermint, take the fresh leaves, break them off, and just put them right in your tea. Peppermint has calming effects. It's good for digestion as well. It's good for anxiety. It improves your circulation and concentration. So some of these plants are also good just smelling them. They smell amazing. I love the smell of lavender as well. So you can infuse these with oils and make your own natural oils with them, as well as they're edible. And then we're going to talk about one more, and this is rosemary. So my favorite thing to do with rosemary, I like to just put it on top of fish. I love it on top of salmon, but it also aids digestion. It protects our brain. It's very aromatic. Just handling this, I smell rosemary is permeating through the air right now. It smells amazing. It protects your brain. It improves your mood and your memory, and it enhances cognitive skills. So, plants are our friends, and, they're amazing. They make us feel better in so many ways, not just eating them, but also smelling them, looking at them. So we got a lot of therapies going on right here. So let me go back over here, and let me finish out my presentation. So excuse me, I didn't want to do a lot of moving around. So let me get my video back. Whoop, there's some of my notes. So we want to We don't want those. Let me flip my camera back around. Whoops. Sorry about that. So anyway, now the Tower Garden is very affordable. And I'm not going to go into a lot of information about the Tower Garden because next month we are going to have a special guest who is going to tell us all about the Tower Garden. And also, well, I don't want to give too much information away, but she's going to talk about the Tower Garden in depth. But I just want to say it's very affordable. It's interest-free payments that you can make on this without a credit check. Monthly payments, no credit check. So that means everyone can have one. And if you're spending, and you actually should be spending at least $50 a month on plants, buying, some fresh herbs, I'm telling you, they will wake up your food. Put some fresh, I'm still getting that aroma just from handling the plants. It smells so good in here. But just sprinkle it on your food. You can also put it in your smoothie. And if you want some recipes, I'll be free to share, happy to share. You can put peppermint in your smoothies. You can put parsley even in your smoothies. And, a lot of the things you won't even taste, but you are going to get the health benefits of it. So now let me move on from our Tower Garden because, man, I could talk some more on that because I love it so much. But we're on the line of talking about brain health, and Helena did mention omegas. Omegas are so good for brain health. So most people, when they think of omegas, they think of oily fish is the best source of your omegas, right? Omega-3 fatty acids. But here's the big question. Where do the fish get the omegas? They get it from the algae. So that's where the fish get it. So we can just skip the middleman, skip the middle fish, and go straight to the source. And our company offers high quality omega. These are cold pressed omega, and not just omega-3, because most people just get the omega-3 and it's fishy. So this is no fish burps, no fishy taste. And you have a blend of 5 omega fatty acids, omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Omegas are good for your brain health. It improves your mood. It's plant-based, no fish burps. And I mean, it's amazing. So if you want to do something for your mind and your body, because it's also good for your joints as well, these omegas are amazing. So that's all I want to say. I'm going to try to contain myself and cut my segment short so we're not here over time. And I'm going to kick it back to Kiana right now. So thanks, everyone.
Elsie, I can totally relate. You know that we get so pumped up and excited every single day. And that's actually what motivated us to inspire healthy living all around the world. That's how we first joined the healthy living community. We met some people that were like-minded, that were goal setters out here wanting to change lives and make a big difference. So every time you come on with us, we're always excited and pumped up and just really thrilled to share with you what we know. So based on some of the awesome things that Elsie said about the omegas and how they have the different ingredients in them, it really got me thinking about Helena's presentation and some of the ingredients she listed for things that can help to optimize your immune system. And I noticed that a lot of those items can also be found in our Juice Plus products. So Elsie talked about the omegas. There's pomegranate seed oil in there, and there's also tomato seed oil. There are things that Helena mentioned. Helena mentioned elderberries. The elderberries are in our berry blend, as well as all sorts of other berries, in addition to cocoa powder, cacao powder as well. And if you didn't know, berries are rich in antioxidants, which means they help to protect our hearts, they improve our blood health, and they're also anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial. So that's really important, especially this time of year when many people tend to turn more to antibiotics. Perhaps instead consider getting more berries into your day. And there's several different ways we can talk to you about how we get berries into our bodies. Other things that also showed up on the list were oats and whole grains. Those are also found in our Juice Plus products. We talked about oranges and apples. And if you haven't seen any of the boxes of our products, They're listed right here on the side for you, so you can see everything that comes in them. Complete transparency. Everything that's on the list is actually in the bottle. You get the essence of it powdered and concentrated. You just want to rehydrate it with some water so that it floods through your system. Also in the list of our products, quinoa, carrots, and beets, radishes as well. And some of those things are found in one of my favorite products, which is actually the Juice Plus Complete Shake Mix. It is a complete vegan shake mix. You can add it to water. You can do your favorite nut milk, coconut water, aloe water, or juice, whatever you'd like to do. And these simple to carry along pouches really help you to remain replenished and nourished throughout the day. And fun fact, it begins breaking down in your body as little as 3 minutes, but it can keep your blood sugar levels balanced for up to 3 hours. So the Juice Plus Complete is a great addition to have. And then we talked about some other things that were on the list, like kale. It says cruciferous veggies actually help to fight against cancer. We have broccoli, spinach, and you know what shows up again and again and again? Tomatoes. Tomatoes show up in all sorts of our blends. So I'm showing you, this is the veggie side. You already saw what was in our fruits. And that is what's going to come in all of those. And you know what? It takes me to a fun list, piggybacking onto what Elsie said. Not only are these things that are found in our Juice Plus products, what I just listed to you, but how about these items that can be grown in the tower garden? So we already said broccoli, spinach, tomato, kale. You certainly can grow all those things. In addition to that, you can grow sage, thyme, oregano, and bok choy. I know Elsie grows some great bok choy. And coincidentally, again, because there's just a lot of great overlap. So if you haven't already seen a pattern here, everything that we're sharing with you is helped to improve your body overall. This is a list that was shared with us by a dietitian and nutritionist that's among our community. And they told us about these items to help to thin your mucus and also reduce the risk of flu and pneumonia during this time of year. So they said that fermented food, it helps your immune system and your digestive system. So things like kimchi and sauerkraut and items that are pickled, they have good bacteria and prebiotics. But if you didn't already know, the Juice Plus capsules, that is going to be your fruit, vegetable, berries, omegas. All of the capsules have live enzymes in them. I'm sorry, perhaps not the omega oils. I'll check with Ro and I'll get back to you about that one. But I know the fruit, veggies, and the berries for sure, they all have live enzymes in them that also help your good gut bacteria. So if you're not a fan of all that pickled food, like I know I wasn't for the longest, just pop your capsules and drink it with your water, and that'll start to help your gut in the right direction. So we talked about these foods that are also on the diabetes food swap list. She mentioned ginger, garlic, onions, cinnamon, and turmeric, all great things to cook with, things that are also on the same list from the dietitian and the nutritionist. She said they're known to fight against cancer and infection. So this is how she categorized the list. She said that they're foods for better breathing in asthma patients, and that has known to improve the condition in cancer patients and aids in respiratory and cardiovascular disease prevention by providing the body with more antioxidants and essential phytonutrients. So I'm so grateful to Helena, to Elsie. I'm grateful for the idea of all the things we can grow in the tower garden that can also help us in several different ways. Not just anyone that's dealing with seasonal affective disorder, not just anyone that's living with diabetes, but as you heard, this information is great for everyone. Every single thing we've mentioned to you this evening has been scientifically proven worldwide to improve your circumstances and your health condition. So I just want to give you a little bit of a wrap up of what we heard tonight. So Helena said, it's not just what you eat, but it's what's eating you. If that's not deep, it definitely gave me a lot to think about when she said it. We also heard back to the turmeric. She said the turmeric tea is a great substitute for coffee. So if you're trying to reduce that caffeine, keep it in mind. Let's see, we heard that movement matters. That means that you can even just do your housework and be a little more intentional, maybe get some squats in there when you're lifting, do some more stretching and things of that nature. And they also said that you want to set yourself up for the changing of the seasons. We always know that after fall comes winter, and after winter is going to come spring. And before we can get to that reflection and that new life and new beginnings, we have to get through the colder months. And that means we have to be a little more aware of what our bodies need, what our families may need, and just be considerate of others, as this is a very difficult time on many people for different reasons. So I really appreciate her for saying that. And taking it back to Elsie, how great was she helping us with those different poses? She told us about boat pose, sun salutations, telling us about getting to heart center. We learned a bit about yoga tonight. I know I'm not super well versed, but I'm really looking forward to doing that. A couple of 5-minute stretches that help you to start the day strong and to end the day strong. It helps to get into that good routine. And also she mentioned to do your I am affirmations and statements. If you can't think of anything to do, you can combine the two of doing gratitude with your I ams by saying, I am grateful for, and then filling it in until you get into a nice, simple daily routine to get your mind and body on a better path. So something that we wanted to leave you with this evening, we told you all the different ways that you can help to adopt simple solutions now that you can start to incorporate into your life. But we want to ask you, what plan do you have in place for life's slip-ups? We all know we slip up. We're not perfect. Things happen. We stumble. We get distracted. We can get overwhelmed. But what are you going to do for yourself and your body or your family? Are you prepared to invest? Are you prepared for a better tomorrow by investing in your family today, is what we want to ask you about. Elsie already told you a little bit about what we'll be discussing next month. We'll talk to you a little bit more about that movement matters. We'll talk to you about ways that you can cut back on caffeine, how you can get more water in, better rest, and just to lean on those by getting support from a community that's worldwide. So we so look forward to having you back next month. That'll be December 17th, pardon me. It's at 7 p.m., always the third Friday of the month. But before then, you know what I'm going to say. You don't have to go too far. You don't have to wait that long. We do something every single day of the week, so you can join us. So tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, you can get on with the Hicks sisters. They always have phenomenal things to share. I'm always so excited to have such relatable faces that are successful. Our Black professionals, our professionals of color from all around the nation, who even connect with people around the world. We're in over 26 countries. They'll be talking to you about urban gardening and how you can help to encourage the people in your life to grow green, eat clean, and to live better, more fulfilling lives. So we'll have that information to drop in the chat for you in just a moment. We also have some mental health resources from Helena Marascott she shared with us. We'll put that in the chat for you as well. And we always just say that this incredibly loving community, we've created resources that are informational, inspirational, and always fun. We encourage you to connect with the person who invited you here today so that your family can promote awareness and motivate others to take the steps that they need to improve their lives with better health. And you know what else that means? The fourth Saturday of the month, you're going to come back on and get on with Nettie Housewright and her wonderful crew, for self-care is not selfish. There's always something for you. We'll be happy to have you and embrace you with open arms. Please come back next month. Learn about all the ways that you can help encourage your family and that you can give the gift of health. On behalf of Team Unstoppable and the Healthy Living community, I'm Kiana Alexander. We were so grateful to have you. Stick around, tell us your thoughts, and ask some questions. For everyone else out there, have a wonderful rest of your weekend.